Hotel MERAVIA Leonardo Limited Edition. Adults only, is located on a hillside, with a road running below it. We are on the Chalkidiki peninsula, where we can see the three fingers known as Cassandra, or Poseidon's trident. If we zoom in on the map, we can see that the hotel is located between the towns of Nea Fokea and Aphitos. Let's zoom in a little further in Google Maps and turn the map around to see the hotel's beach and coastline. From the drone, we get a very detailed view of our hotel. Down below is the beach belonging to the hotel. Above the road, on the left-hand side, we can see a footbridge and a lift that will take us down to the beach. After landing, we travel by coach for about an hour to the hotel. The coach stops here, at the bottom of the driveway. Unfortunately, with our luggage, we have to walk uphill. Although I noticed that coaches from other travel agencies drop their guests off in this area. Here, on the hill, before entering the hotel, we leave our luggage, which is tagged. We then head to the hotel reception. We walk up the stairs and see the reception directly in front of us. We are directed to the right, where the hotel lobby is located. There is a bar, a TV area, and air-conditioned indoor seating. Then we go outside to the most charming part of the hotel, the terrace. If there is space on the terrace, we can sit down and wait for our room to be ready. We sat inside because there were no more seats available in the air-conditioned part of the terrace. New guests are offered an aperitif, rosemary tea. In the meantime, we fill out a questionnaire. It is very detailed and contains a lot of information about our diet and allergies. I noticed the section concerning smoking. Unfortunately, our experience later showed that people smoked wherever they wanted. From time to time, a member of the hotel staff comes in and reads out the names of guests whose rooms are ready. Those lucky guests walk through the entire hall, past reception, and go outside the hotel, where electric carts are waiting for them. We travel to our room with our luggage on one of these carts. Although, quite often, the luggage has already been taken to the room. We are on our way to our room. As part of the welcome package, we also receive all-inclusive wristbands, which we put on ourselves. As for the hotel, here we can see a side view, just as we saw it when we arrived and entered the hotel. Here is the entrance, and on the right is the large, beautiful terrace that I will come back to later. The hotel is divided into two sections, and each has its own swimming pool. The buildings you can see in the middle contain rooms that, when you buy the holiday package or search for it through a travel agency, are described as garden view. These are the buildings you see here. They overlook either this swimming pool, with the dining restaurant next to it, or the other side, towards the second section. They are not particularly noisy, so there is no need to worry about them. I also want to show you an aerial view of the hotel from the rear. We can see the division into the first and second sections, with two groups of buildings where the guests stay. This is a view of the first section. The roof we can see here covers the terrace of the restaurant where we will have lunch, breakfast, and dinner. Here is another side view. The dining area is on the left. As you can see, there is a lot of greenery at the Palm Hotel. There are palm trees everywhere. To be honest, it does not look much like Greece. While staying at the hotel, you could get the impression that you are somewhere in the Canary Islands. These are the buildings in between. As you can see, they are 2 stories high, just like all the other buildings. Guests staying on the ground floor have their own pools and views of the main pool. This is the other side of the buildings in the middle. There is plenty of vegetation and landscaping everywhere. And here, we have a view of the second section, which is built slightly differently. There are also plenty of palm trees, both low and tall. I am leaving the building where we stayed on the second floor. As I walked along, this was the view I had. I was in the second section. On the right-hand side are beautiful beds with mattresses set in shallow water. The water is ankle deep, perhaps slightly deeper. On the left is one of the bars, which I will come back to later. It is very nice and clean, with lots of vegetation. Here, for example, is a large patch of lavender. I want to show you what this section looks like at sunset from our window. A beautiful sunset and very lovely light. You have to admit that the hotel is very charming, with a beautiful view of the bay. But we will come back to that when discussing the hotel terrace. Here is another sunset on the hotel beach, which I will discuss in a moment. The hotel also has a very well-equipped gym. There are many different treadmills. The woman exercising here is our personal trainer, who looks after the gym. We can exercise with her, and she can choose exercises for us. There is a bench and dumbbells, as well as more advanced steppers and exercise bikes. Classes can also be held outdoors. The trainer even encourages this. There is a small dedicated terrace. As you can see, there is quite a lot of equipment. You can even attach so-called battle ropes here. On the hotel grounds, in the area between the first and second pools, there is a small shop. It mainly sells beach accessories and basic toiletries, various creams, oils, and hygiene products. It is important to note that there are no lifts anywhere in the hotel, apart from the lift to the beach. There are stairs everywhere, and there are really a lot of them. If our room is not on the ground floor, we will also have to use these stairs. So if you have mobility problems, whether temporary or permanent, keep this in mind. You will be using stairs everywhere, and there are no lifts leading to the rooms. You can also see that the hotel corridors are rather oddly managed because the cleaning staff always leave lots of their equipment there. It stays there until morning and simply looks strange. Here is the entrance to our room. As you can see, I deliberately show that our room faced the road, and the road could be heard from the room at night, especially if we wanted to sleep with the window open. This is an adults-only hotel, and this rule really was enforced. We have stayed in many adults-only hotels where, suddenly, there were a few small children. That is not the case here. Only guests over the age of 16 are allowed to stay at the hotel. We did not see any exceptions to this rule, which means the hotel is simply peaceful and quiet. Here is an aerial view of the hotel entrance. Now we move to the first section of the hotel, with the first swimming pool. This is what it looks like from above. As you can see, there are quite a few sun lounges. The pool is fairly large. The area with the roof is our main restaurant. Here is a view from the reception terrace over the whole area. It gives the impression that this is the entire hotel. You cannot see the second section. There are also hanging chairs where you can sit and gently swing. Here we can see what I would call perhaps cabanas. They are covered. This is exactly what they look like. They are occupied last. They are free. Here we can see the tables. These tables remain permanently in place. They are used for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because, as you will see, you can eat outside on a semi-open terrace or in a completely enclosed, air-conditioned area. Here are a few more views of this section. Up there we saw our terrace, which I will show you in a moment. This side of the pool is completely quiet. There is no loud music. We can simply relax here. This pool is shallow. It usually starts at a depth of several dozen centimeters and goes to about 1.40 meters. The deepest point is 1.60 meters. The panorama from here is also charming, as are the sunsets. And here we are showing you the hotel on another day. Here we can see lunch in the semi-open restaurant section. These are the tables for anyone who wants to sit outside. As you can see, there are not many people choosing this area because it was very hot. Usually, as we can see on the other side, there are still plenty of sun lounges available. The lounges are quite good quality, made of wood, and fitted with thick mattresses, so they are comfortable. And here is a beautiful panorama, stretching across the entire bay and towards the hotel beach, which I will show you in a moment. Let's move to the second section of the hotel. Here is a vertical drone shot. We can see that it is built completely differently. In the middle, there is a circular area with those orange squares. These are our water mattresses. There are also private pools for guests staying on the ground floor. At the far right is the restaurant. It is quiet and completely peaceful here. Several times a week, in the afternoon, a DJ comes and plays club music. In both sections, there are also showers for guests to use. as well as toilets. There is lots of greenery and beautiful vegetation. Here I want to show you the waterbeds up close. They are set on a concrete foundation. There are thick, comfortable mattresses. There are no umbrellas here, and the sun really is strong, even though it was June. Here we can see the section with sun lounges and umbrellas, similar to the one by the first pool. There is a lot of greenery. You can see that the gardener has done a good job. Just as at the first pool, there are also cabanas with canopies. Guests staying on the ground floor, both directly in front and on the sides, have their own pools. There are also circular cabanas with large mattresses, almost like large beds. There are no umbrellas here, and the structures we see in the middle are Korean-style grills. Although these grills were not used even once during our stay. And here we can see the sunset over this part of the hotel. The sun comes in at an angle, even though the pools are supposedly open only until 6 p.m. People stayed longer and nobody objected. There were no complaints and nobody was asked to leave. You can see that someone has left their towels and drinks here and plans to come back. There is also an infinity pool in this section. It is really well designed, with a very gentle entry, and it is not a deep pool. It is also roughly 1.60 meters deep. One of the bars is located next to this pool, as well as the evening restaurant. There are tables next to it. Guests who want to stay by this pool also have separate sun lounges overlooking the bay and the beach, as well as tiered areas with mattresses where you can spend time by the infinity pool. The pools are not heated. At least, we did not see them being heated in June. They are not deep and offer very beautiful views, either of the bay or simply of the forest and greenery. At sunset, many people come here to take wonderful photos. Not only does the light become beautiful, but the view is almost magical. As for towels, they are provided in a designated area, in wooden cabinets near each pool, but quite often there are no towels there. If we want a towel, we have to go to the spa area, which is located here. As for lifeguards, one pool has a lifeguard station, and the second pool also has one. But very often we see a "no lifeguard" flag. Sometimes there is a lifeguard, and literally 30 minutes later, the flag says that there is no lifeguard. I do not know whether there was only one lifeguard who moved between the two pools, but the fact is that in June, the lifeguard was very often absent. As for bars, the hotel has 3 main bars. One is located by the first pool. Here, directly ahead, is the area where our restaurants are, where we have breakfast and dinner, and to the right is the first bar. I think it opens from 10 or 11 a.m. As you can see, there are plenty of free tables, and it is not crowded. You can get everything here, including alcoholic drinks. There is also good, proper espresso coffee everywhere, rather than coffee from a machine. Although I have to admit that even the coffee from the machines at this hotel was actually good. The second bar is by the second pool. It is next to the restaurant where the themed dinners take place and serves the entire second section and second pool. Everything is available here: alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, hot coffee, iced coffee, and frozen drinks. The third bar is the one we passed when we were waiting for our room to be ready. This is where all the nightlife is concentrated. It is open from 11 a.m. until whenever the night ends, really late. The drinks prepared here are very good. The bartenders are extremely busy, but they make proper, quality drinks. The drinks are available from the morning. As you can see, even during the day, you can order a mojito and enjoy your holiday. Behind the bar, by the first pool, an additional snack bar opens in the afternoon. It is rather oddly hidden here. But this is where you can get snacks such as salads, fruit, hamburgers, fries, and gyros. There are also sweets, slices of cake, wraps, sandwiches, and other snacks. As for the bars, it is important to mention that each one has waiter service. The waiters serving the pool areas deserve special praise. They really do their best. They come to every sun lounger and ask whether you need anything. You can order something, and it is, I have to admit, the kind of service you would expect from a 5-star hotel. Sometimes someone forgets something, but that is probably normal and very rare. So, really, it is full luxury. You can lie down and have full service. A few words should be devoted to the Hotel Terrace, because it is a central place, especially for evening life, and it is absolutely beautiful and almost magical thanks to the view. Look at what the terrace looks like. I filmed it from left to right, and it curves around through the entire center. The terrace forms a kind of U shape and stretches across the entire hotel lobby with a beautiful view. It is simply magical. Just sitting there and looking at the view is genuinely calming and relaxing. You feel that you are having a proper holiday. Here is a tip for you. We discovered that after breakfast, especially a late breakfast around 10 to 11 a.m., we would come here for a second coffee. It was completely empty, so you could choose wherever you wanted to sit. Here is the view in the other direction. Another day, another coffee. Enjoying the views and taking it easy. Slow life. And another coffee. If it gets too hot, we can go inside into the air-conditioned section and cool down. Sometimes we allowed ourselves a morning drink. You cannot live on coffee alone. The terrace also serves as a stage and a place for evening entertainment. When there is no wind, performances take place outside. If there is stronger wind, the entire show is moved indoors into the air-conditioned section. Shows take place every day, or almost every day. They finish at around 11 or 11:15 p.m. And another day when we enjoy iced coffee and beautiful views. We sit partly in the shade and relax. I will tell you that I could sit there every day for at least 2 hours and simply relax. The sunsets from this terrace are also beautiful. Another thing worth showing is what the hotel and its pools look like at night. All the pools are illuminated, as are the palm trees. At night, completely silently, robots also move around the pools, cleaning them. It is quiet and peaceful until around 11 p.m. There are small speakers throughout the hotel, playing soft music until around 11 p.m. or slightly later. Here we can see the upper terrace during the evening. We can see the dining area and the first pool. Many people also use the sun lounges in the evening, sitting there in a pleasant, romantic atmosphere, looking at the stars and the hotel. And here we can see the illuminated infinity pool and the illuminated private pools. There are even people who, at around 11 p.m. or midnight, are still swimming in their private pools. And just a few words about why we made this film. When we look for holidays through a travel agency or independently, and when we look for reviews, there is always a problem. Either the reviews are based on something bad that happened, something the hotel did not do or failed to provide, and one negative review destroys the reputation of the entire hotel, or there are only glowing reviews written at the hotel's request. What is missing are real reviews, in which someone shows all the corners of the hotel and all its aspects, so that we can decide for ourselves whether we like the hotel or not. Everyone has different expectations, different sensitivities, different tastes, and different needs. That is why we decided to share our trips with you. If you like what we do, or find it useful, we would be grateful if you liked our profile, liked the video, and left a comment. And for those who are particularly happy with our work and would like to support us, you can also buy us a coffee. You can click the heart icon in the video settings or use the link in the video description, where you can also buy us a coffee or a pizza. Thank you very much for that. And now, let's see what our room looked like. We have an open-plan wash basin, a desk on the left, a very large bed, a small sofa on the right, an armchair on the left, a table and a balcony, as well as a beautiful view from the balcony. As you can see, we had a view of the infinity pool, one of the restaurants, and the entire second section of the hotel, together with a beautiful view of the bay. Here is another view from the balcony. We can see the room, the bed, luggage space, and the desk. The refrigerator is hidden underneath the drinks station. In the fridge, we found 4 soft drinks, including regular and sugar-free Pepsi, as well as Alpha beer. There were also 2 1-liter bottles of mineral water, supplied in cartons. The water was replaced every day, while the soft drinks were provided for the entire week-long stay. When we arrived, there were also mini donuts and coated peanuts waiting for us in the room. There was, of course, a kettle and a coffee machine, a capsule machine, 4 coffees, 2 small milk portions, and regular and green tea. Let's look at the room again from the desk side. We had our luggage spread out, a small table and an armchair. Let's measure the room. The sleeping area was just over 4 meters long, 4.18 meters, and almost 4 meters wide, 3.70 meters. The entire length of the room, from the entrance door to the balcony door, was more than 7 meters, 7.11 meters. So, using 3.67 by 7.11, the total area comes to exactly 26 square meters, including the toilet, wardrobes, and bathroom. Let's also measure the bed, just under 1.80 meters wide by 2 meters long. And once again, a view of the room from the balcony side. On the left, we have the wash basin, toilet, and shower. The wash basin has a double-sided mirror. Underneath it are towels and a large countertop, as well as soap and conditioner dispensers. Let's measure the countertop, in case anyone is wondering whether there is enough space for their belongings. 1.25 meters by 63 centimeters. There is also an illuminated magnifying mirror mounted to the right of the wash basin. Walking from the wash basin, we see the shower and toilet on the left, separated by frosted glass. Let's see what the toilet looks like. There is a telephone, a wash basin, and a small shelf. On the shelf in the toilet, there is a whole set of disposable amenities. 2 toothbrushes with toothpaste, which was a big surprise for us because there was also a disposable comb. I have not seen a disposable comb in a hotel for a long time. There were also 2 shaving sets with gel and a razor. Then a shower cap, and 2 sets containing cotton buds, cotton pads, and a nail file. There was also a sanitary bag. And finally, 2 identical sets containing a bath sponge. Let's measure the toilet. 1.90 meters long and 1.10 meters wide. Leaving the toilet, we enter the shower. There is both a regular shower and a rain shower. On the other side, there is a handle, shower gel and conditioner. There are drains and another handle. The shower measures 1.38 meters long and 88 centimeters wide. After leaving the shower, let's see what we have in the wardrobes. One wardrobe has a mirror. Here we simply have hangers. At the top, there is a large overhead storage compartment. The wardrobe is about 1 meter wide. Inside, there are hangers, 2 bathrobes, an ironing board, space for shoes, and an iron hidden under one of the bathrobes. At the bottom, we also found scales. Let's see what is in the second part of the wardrobe. Here we have, above all, a safe, 1 shelf, a very large overhead compartment, additional hanging space if things do not fit in the first wardrobe, and drawers. There are only 3 drawers, but they are probably enough for a holiday. I measured the safe, 37 by 40 centimeters and 20 centimeters high. I think even a large laptop would fit inside it. And once again, a view of the room. It is worth mentioning that the room has a mosquito net and doors that close securely. There are also sheer curtains and blackout curtains that completely block out daylight if you need to sleep during the day. We closed the curtains at night because our room happened to get sunlight from early morning, so if we wanted to sleep a little longer, we had to draw them. And once again, let's look at the room after cleaning and servicing. As you can see, the cleaning service leaves a little to be desired because the bed has not been made as it should have been. I do not expect towel animals, as you sometimes see in other hotels, but here is an example from another day when the bed simply does not look properly cleaned. On the right-hand side, near the entrance door, where we have the room card slot that activates the electricity, there is also a control panel. We can use it to indicate whether we want the room cleaned, whether we do not want to be disturbed, or whether we are sleeping. This information is displayed on the illuminated panel next to the entrance door. Also to the right of the entrance is the air conditioning control panel. Be careful, because it is very difficult to switch on. You have to use the tiny button on the top edge of the panel. We can adjust the temperature, and, generally speaking, it works reasonably well. Now we are leaving our room for dinner, walking through practically the entire hotel. The dining area is by the first pool. It is illuminated, with tables on the left and right, and you can sit outside. We enter the semi-open section. Then there is the air-conditioned section, for anyone who does not want to sit in the heat. And we enter the main food hall. There are all kinds of olives, olive pastes, sun-dried tomatoes, and marinated peppers. There are breadsticks and classic bread, pasta with tomato sauce, turkey roulades, potatoes, and pork stew. Then there is some kind of roast, corn, stewed carrots with peas, and fish, white and yellow cheeses, and various accompaniments. Here we have more cheese boards. There are roasted peppers, risotto, fried red and green peppers, fried courgettes, and fried fish fillets. It was sole, deep fried. Let's have another look at the salads. There were really a lot of them, as well as vegetables prepared in various ways. Side dishes, lettuce and different types of ketchup and other sauces. roast potatoes, and desserts. There were lots of different mousses. There was tart, cream puffs, mango cookies, baklava, and local desserts, caramelized sweets, and, of course, ice cream, which was available every day, both at lunch and dinner. Usually there were 6 flavors of ice cream: banana, chocolate, vanilla, caramel, strawberry, and pistachio. Let's also look at the fruit. Nothing surprising here. Bananas, grapes, peaches, plums, apricots, nectarines, apples, and sometimes melon. All kinds of sweet drinks, both fruit drinks and regular Pepsi, were available from the dispensers. And here is another plate of mine. If you are interested, it consisted of fried fish, peppers, another fish, pork stew, and fried courgette. There was plenty of seating. If there was no room on the left in the air-conditioned section, you could sit in the semi-open area or completely outside. And another day. Milanese-style cutlet, lemon, essentially a breaded pork cutlet, grilled mackerel in lemon sauce, more pork, fried courgette, and pizzas appeared, but they were small and cut into very small pieces. And you can see the accompaniments. Again, either olives or sun-dried tomatoes. More sweets. Lots of local sweets. Mousses, and little cake balls coated in coconut flakes. And again, the olive, pepper, and sun-dried tomato station, as well as capers. There were salads and plenty of choice. Here we can see green bean salad, rice salad, Greek salad, pasta salad, and broccoli salad. And fruit, very similar to the previous day, except that watermelon and pears appeared, as well as kiwi. And of course, all kinds of sauces, accompaniments, and dips. And another plate, meat and vegetables. Another day, turkey in pepper and ginger sauce, Brussels sprouts, couscous with mushrooms, meat casserole, pasta with tomato sauce, beef in parmesan sauce, potatoes with butter and herbs, penne carbonara, more pizzas, and grilled mackerel fillet in lemon sauce. And again, salads based on broccoli, pasta and courgette, Greek salad and green bean salad. Another table, Greek cheese pie, turkey with pepper and ginger, and a halved, stuffed and stewed aubergine. I want to show you another dinner. We have fish, pork, stewed vegetables, and, interestingly, what I found was a polar shark, a type of shark. We also have ribs, carrots, and corn. Somewhere else, I found chili con carne and an egg casserole. There was almost always baked courgette and baked peppers, grilled pork, potatoes with bacon or some kind of sausage, salads based on beans, pasta and potatoes, Greek salad, more tomatoes today, spring rolls, these were vegetarian, duck in orange sauce, and fried courgettes. The first dinner, on the day we arrived, was probably the most beautiful in terms of the sunset. Here you can see our plates. Again, mainly vegetables, meat and fish, with a little seafood, onion, and Brussels sprouts. There were also these fried cheese and potato sticks. It was windy, and it looked as though rain, even a storm, was coming, but ultimately it did not rain. Instead, we had a beautiful sunset, with the sun showing just how beautiful a Greek sunset can be. I remember that when I was once in Crete, we had sunsets like this every day. We could see what looked like a white squall, and there were flashes of lightning in the distance. It looked as though there would be a huge downpour, but ultimately, it did not rain. Instead, we had a festival of beautiful colors and a fascinating sunset. And this is the evening after the sun had set. We can see what the dining area and the pool looked like at night. We go to breakfast. As you can see, there are quite a lot of people. We arrived at around 10 a.m. There were pancakes, bread baked in an egg coating, fried eggs, either sunny side up or cooked on both sides, boiled eggs for 5 to 10 minutes, soft or hard-boiled, omelets. There were always only 2 types of omelet, ham and cheese, and mushroom. There was shakshuka, ordinary scrambled eggs with bacon, sausages, Turkish-style bacon, regular bacon, baked tomatoes with cheese, and sliced baked potatoes. There was a very large selection of raw vegetables. On one side were raw vegetables and on the other side salads. Again, we had olives, olive pastes, anchovies, capers, and various other additions. There were pickles, salads with cheese, cheese on its own, white and yellow cheeses, and a very large selection for breakfast. There was also a toast station, chocolate, nut sauces, marmalades and jams. There was even a piece of honeycomb, various yogurts, seeds, nuts, different oils, mustard, ketchup and other dips, as well as muesli and dried fruit. I was surprised by the large selection of different types of milk. The bottles were cleverly designed so they were easy to pour and so flies could not land on them. And I have to say that, indeed, we encountered flies very, very rarely. The same bread selection we saw at lunch, although there was slightly more variety at breakfast. For example, there were pretzels, as well as classic cake, muffins and shortbread cookies. Let's move on to the sweet things. Here we have cookies and puff pastry with spinach, jam, apples, and cinnamon. There were also donuts, various toppings, creams, mousses, and several kinds of halva. Regular and sparkling water were available, as well as sweet drinks from a dispenser and a coffee machine. I have to admit that the coffee from the machine was actually good, and there was also decaffeinated coffee. Let's look at the fruit available for breakfast. You could sit in the air-conditioned section, where there was plenty of free space, or in the semi-open section. Here is our breakfast. 2 eggs, 1 fried and the other cooked on both sides, tomatoes, baked beans, 2 types of cheese. And our second breakfast was an omelette, sausages, fruit, seeds and nuts with yogurt. We sat outside, beautifully sunny and warm. I want to show you another day and what breakfast looked like. Here we have the same baked bread, fried eggs and a similar selection. Regular scrambled eggs, mushrooms, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, sausages, baked beans, Turkish-style bacon, and regular bacon, soft and hard-boiled eggs, omelettes with ham, cheese, and mushrooms. Next to that was shakshuka, a buffet with cold meats, white and yellow cheeses, raw vegetables, and various salads. And additions such as anchovies, various interesting accompaniments, and pickles. There was puff pastry baked with a sausage, butter croissants, delicious cheese pastries, sweet pastries, more cookies, and puff pastry with apples and cinnamon. There were the ever-present donuts, always with some kind of icing. And another tart. Breakfast could also be eaten in this semi-open section above the pool, with beautiful views. On this day, we really indulged. After breakfast, we took quite a lot of sweets. Tart, a baked cheese pastry, apples and cinnamon, and the croissant. We sat here for our second coffee for a long time and finished breakfast well after 11 a.m. Lunch was more relaxed. We saw cabbage with rice, stewed meat with mushrooms, various vegetables in sauces, fish, a cheese and bacon casserole, something resembling a type of pasta, spring rolls, this time meat-filled, chicken skewers, and pieces of pizza. There was a stand with various raw vegetables, carrots, tomatoes, different types of lettuce, onions, and 3 types of peppers. Olives and olive pastes were available with every meal. There were also some cheeses and side dishes, as well as a selection of sweets. We arrived towards the end of the service, but there was always something left, and fruit, very similar to the previous meals, although with a slightly smaller selection. There was always ice cream available in 6 flavors. And I want to show you another day and what was served for lunch. Here we have spring rolls, duck in orange sauce, baked courgette, baked tomatoes, and some small cutlets. There were familiar salads based on beans, rice, Greek salad, potatoes, pasta, and mushrooms. I also see lentil salad, small tartlets, small dips, and small assortments. Here we have barbecue, as well as rice with spinach, vegetables, cucumbers, beetroot, tomatoes, carrots, beans, and lettuce, essentially the same as at the previous lunch. There was also a selection of olives, olive oil, and other additions. And here our attention was drawn to a pistachio and chocolate tart. It is also worth noting that lunch can be eaten in the themed restaurant next to the Infinity Bar. We have baked potatoes, a flatbread, some matzah, kebab, and Turkish-style rolls. Here you can see what it looks like from the other side. The selection is not particularly large, with a few salads, literally 2 or 3, a few vegetables, and various sauces. The choice is small, but the location where you can have lunch is very charming. To get to the hotel beach, we have to cross the bridge you can see, and either take the lift down or use the stairs. This is exactly what it looks like from the drone. The entrance to the bridge is hidden on the left-hand side of the hotel exit. There are lots of stairs, as you can see, and we walk onto the bridge, which is not just a little footbridge, but a fairly solid metal structure. At the end, once we cross it, we have 2 options. Either we go down the normal stairs, there are several flights, or we use the lift. The lift takes about 20 seconds. We get out, and once again, there are more stairs. So, as I mentioned earlier, there are stairs everywhere in the hotel. If someone uses a wheelchair or crutches, they will not be able to reach the beach despite the lift being available. At the end, there is another, newer and more modern wooden access route. And after the final few steps, we reach a wooden boardwalk that runs across the entire beach. The section on the left belongs exclusively to the MERAVIA Hotel. There is a lifeguard tower, although I never saw a lifeguard there. On the left, we can also see 3 changing rooms. There are sun lounges on both the left and right sides. On the seaside, there are 2 rows of lounges, and at the far end, there is another hotel bar. Just as upstairs, there is waiter service here. And let's take a look at the beach itself. Unfortunately, we did not have a good impression because someone apparently dumped concrete blocks into the sea, probably during construction of the hotel, and this spoils the overall appearance. The seawater, however, is clean, and the entry into the water is very gentle. Unfortunately, the concrete blocks are in many places. With entire slabs and pieces of slabs lying around, it does not look good. The beach itself also leaves something to be desired. Perhaps the sand could at least have been raked. That would hide some of the dirt, dried seaweed, and simply the rubbish on the beach. Therefore, if you want to enter the water, it is really useful to have flip-flops, water shoes, Crocs, or something else to protect your feet. The waves near the shore are tiny. This shot was taken from a lower perspective, but in reality, the waves really are very small. As I mentioned, the entry into the water is shallow, but the slabs definitely spoil the overall impression. The advantage of this beach is that no matter what time we arrive, we can always find a free pair of sun loungers and an umbrella. The beach is divided into two sections. The other section is used by a sports camp nearby, where children come to swim 2 or 3 times a day. This is what the division of the beach looks like from above, as seen from our left-hand side of the hotel or from the hotel terrace. The sports camp is not particularly bothersome. Here is another view of the beach from below. We can see the hotel from right to left. Let's have another look at this spot. If you do not bring water shoes, you will end up walking into the sea, like the couple you can see in the video. I try to enter the sea, but you can see that the slabs and stones make it difficult. They simply dig into your feet. So we turn back. When we reach the lift, we can either walk up the metal stairs or take the lift for another 20 seconds and enjoy some nice views. And we return over our metal bridge. Looking to the left, we can see what the road looks like. If we wanted to access the beach normally via the road, there are no pedestrian crossings, no traffic lights, and no pavement. It is a very dangerous stretch of road. That is why you cannot simply walk out of the hotel and go for a stroll somewhere. We return to ground level, the reception level, and the entrance directly in front is the entrance to the gym we have already seen. And this is what the beach looks like from above. At night, from above, we can see that some of the umbrellas are still open. Some couples like to go down there in the evening, sit and relax. As for the weather, let's take a look. We were there in the second half of June, and the weather was very sunny, apart from the first evening when a storm was forecast. But it ended with a beautiful sunset and slightly stronger winds. All the following days had temperatures of 33 to 34 degrees Celsius in the shade, and it was really hot. We had 10 to 11 hours of sunshine, sometimes even 14, and very light winds, just enough to provide a little relief. As for the internet, there is coverage throughout the entire hotel, wherever you are, and that is fantastic. The signal is good. I measured it for the first time shortly after arriving in the evening. We got 28 kilobits per second. If you wanted to send large files, as you can see here, the transfer was also quite decent. And this is all thanks to the fact that, after the renovation, the hotel has internet repeaters in many places that strengthen the signal, so there is really nothing to complain about regarding the Wi-Fi coverage. It is much worse when we want to use mobile internet. And tried to check the signal, but I got an error. Mobile internet simply did not work on the hotel grounds. However, in the nearby towns, I was getting very high transfer speeds, and the phone showed a 5G network. I tried to check different taxi prices, but it turned out that the best and cheapest option is simply to order a taxi at reception. A ride to Afitos costs €5 each way, and very nice Mercedes taxis arrive. Afitos is very close to the MERAVIA Hotel, about 2 kilometers away, but you cannot walk there yourself because there is no safe pavement. We arrange with the taxi driver that, when we want to return, we send him an SMS or WhatsApp message telling him where we are and how many minutes we want him to take to arrive. It works quite well. If it is not the same taxi we took before, another one comes. As for attractions around the hotel, let's look at the map. The nearest town is Afitos. Then comes Chalkidiki, and to the left is Nea Fokea. When we arrive in Afitos, we see a beautiful, authentic-looking part of Greece. It is generally a very small town with a central square. The restaurant we see has a long tradition and has existed for many years. On the right, there is a charming little Greek church. It is worth going inside and lighting a candle. There are shops, little stores, arcades, and restaurants everywhere, including this one with a very nice terrace. The town is located on a hill, much like MERAVIA. If we want to go down to the beach, we have to walk downhill. It is quite a walk, but as we can see in the drone footage, the beaches are quite attractive. Up in the old town, however, there are lots of nice cafes, and there are no crowds. We also happened to see a delivery of fresh fish to a restaurant. Here we can see a gigantic gilt-head bream, which will soon be placed on ice and wait for the tourists who will eat it for dinner. It is a nice, colorful little town with lots of shops. 2 or 3 hours are enough to explore it thoroughly, unless you also want to spend time on the beach. It is worth knowing that there is also a pharmacy in the center, and you can buy lots of souvenirs, both products made in China and locally produced goods. Here we have some handmade items. There are also locally produced olive oils. They make great gifts because you can buy them in glass bottles, tins, or beautiful decorative bottles. Olive soaps are also made locally in various scents. After 2 hours, we decided to cool down in this pub. Prices were roughly €3.50 to €4 for half a litre of beer. The next day, we went to the next town, Chalkidiki. The taxi cost €7 for a distance of about 3 kilometers. We went after dinner in the evening, hoping for a beautiful sunset. The beach is also slightly downhill, so you have to walk down to it. Here we can see that there is more built infrastructure. There are lots of sun lounges, both tightly packed and more spacious, umbrellas, a few restaurants and hotels, or rather holiday accommodation. It is clear that Greeks are the main holiday makers here. There are many Greek families. We even saw one large, traditional-style hotel. Greek families spread out on the beach across generations, bringing their own tables, refrigerators and umbrellas, so they can spend the whole day together. The entire evening life of the town takes place along the main street, where restaurants and bars are located. If we go deeper into one of the side streets, there are many more little streets with bars, kebab shops of varying quality, and lots of sellers offering goods from China. And, interestingly, we even found a telephone booth. It turned out that it worked. There was a signal. There are lots of fruit stalls offering reasonably priced melons and watermelons. In this shop, we found a lot of good olive oil. 1 litre glass bottles cost 10 to 12 euros. Kebab, or more accurately, gyros. And here we can see another side street with restaurants. We arranged with our driver to meet us in 10 minutes. He arrived and took us back to the entrance of the MERAVIA Hotel. The ride, as I mentioned, cost 7 euros. We also organized a full-day trip on our own. We rented a car. Here we can see the car, a Citroën C4 Picasso with an automatic diesel transmission. And I have to say that we rented it through the hotel reception, because when we searched online for different rental companies, including well-known ones recommended in Facebook groups, such as Chalkidiki cars, the prices were higher than what the hotel offered us. For 1 day with the Citroën, we paid 75 euros. The first place we want to show you from this trip is Lagoon Beach. It is very attractive when seen from the drone, a bay with a harbor. Looking at the footage, it really does look wonderfully picturesque. The right-hand side has some infrastructure, including some lounges, and the possibility of renting water sports equipment. On the left, there is no such infrastructure. The beach is simply wild. People arrive by car and park camper vans here. It is more suitable for nature lovers who need to bring their own sun lounger, umbrella, and perhaps a mattress for children. And if we look towards the harbor, where there are boats and speedboats, it does not look nearly as impressive as it did from above. From the drone, however, Lagoon Beach really does look magical. And look at this shot, showing the transition between shallow and deep water. It took us about 40 minutes to drive here from MERAVIA. Next, we drove to the other side of the cape, to Possidi Beach. where the lighthouse you can see in this drone shot is located. It is a fantastic, long, sandy spit, and is essentially wild because you can drive your car onto it. Many people park directly by the beach, especially because the parking area there is very small. As you can see in the footage, the place has its own charm. To spend the day on the beach, you need your own umbrellas and sun loungers. People also bring coolers. There is, however, a lifeguard tower and a lifeguard. The entry into the sea is very shallow. Many Greek families with children came here. From the drone, the place looks very attractive. We can see submerged rocks near the shore. On our way back from Possidi, we wanted to have lunch and found a highly rated restaurant on Facebook. However, because we did not have a reservation, we were offered a table next to the toilet against a wall, so we declined. We literally went to one of the two restaurants next door, and we think it was a much better choice. The restaurant, as you can see, was beautiful and stylish, with a traditional Greek atmosphere, blue furniture, blue umbrellas, and white tablecloths. We sat in a corner right next to the sea. Another nice thing about this restaurant was that if you wanted to order fish, the staff invited you inside and showed you the refrigerator. They would take out the fish, and we could decide ourselves which one we wanted them to prepare. We ordered gilt-head bream, as well as starters, aubergine with feta, and a classic Greek salad. And I have to say that the portions were so large that we could not finish everything we had ordered. Next came a platter of calamari and octopus. I have to admit that the calamari and octopus were excellently cooked. The meat was tender rather than rubbery. Finally, our fried gilt-head bream arrived at the table. The meat was delicious. We also ordered non-alcoholic and alcoholic beer, in addition to water, and paid €69.50 in total. The last stop on our day trip was Nea Fokea, the first town to the left of the MERAVIA Hotel. It turned out to be essentially a village without a proper beach. On the waterfront, ducks were being kept in cages like these. It is essentially a fishing village with a pier and many small fishing boats using nets. There is also a local attraction, a historic tower that can be visited. There are also plenty of small boats and speedboats. At the pier, there are also tourist boats for day trips. If you book an excursion through the hotel or a travel agency, they will bring you here to the port of Nea Fokea, from where you will set off on one of these boats. There are, of course, more luxurious speedboats as well. Here is a view from the pier towards the town. There are literally just a few hotels by the beach where you can stay overnight. There are about a dozen umbrellas, and this is the only beach intended for tourists. There is a cafe and a restaurant behind it. These are essentially the only two places to eat directly by the sea. We had already eaten lunch, so we sat down for an iced coffee and some ice cream. If you rent a car, you do not have to worry about parking because there are parking spaces around the hotel. Here, from the drone, you can see how the parking area runs behind the last buildings. There is also a large open area beside the hotel, which is also free parking. The parking area is very nicely lit at night. Remember that the hotel also has security and a barrier gate operating 24 hours a day. The hotel is guarded. As for insects, the only ones you will find are pharaoh ants in the rooms, appearing on furniture and floors. As for mosquitoes, there simply are not any, because there are lots of swallows at the hotel. During this period, the swallows had young. They were flying and hunting intensively to feed them. For most of the days, I praised the hotel for having no mosquitoes, but unfortunately, during the last 2 days, when we were sitting on the terrace by reception, some mosquitoes bit me. During a week-long stay, we can use 3 themed restaurants. They are located upstairs, above the main restaurant where we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. One on the right is called Anatoli, and the one on the left is Amanti. For our first dinner, we went to Anatoli. It is an Asian restaurant. These restaurants have covered areas upstairs in case of bad weather, but when the weather is good, we sit on their terraces. There are only a dozen or so tables. We left our room for dinner at Anatoly. As I mentioned, it is the Asian restaurant, and we sat on the terrace. We ordered water and red wine. Here I am showing you the restaurant menu, including starters, soups, and main courses. You can pause the video and take a close look at exactly what was available. For a starter, we ordered edamame. These are steamed soybeans served with salt. We also had wakame seaweed salad and shrimp popcorn, shrimp in tempura with sauce. We also had green tea. We ordered beef tataki with carrots, asparagus, broccoli, and soy sauce. The second dish was chicken katsu in soy sauce with rice. The dishes were very good, and the beef was particularly well prepared. For dessert, we ordered mochi, a traditional Japanese delicacy. They were balls of ice cream covered in rice dough. We were told to eat the mochi with our fingers. To be honest, it was not very convenient because it was frozen and sticky, but we ate it with pleasure. And finally, we see the evening setting in. Upstairs are the terraces of the two themed restaurants, while downstairs, dinner is still being served in the main restaurant. Now we will show you our second dinner at the neighboring Amanti restaurant, the Italian restaurant. We had this dinner late, and there was an available time at 9:30 p.m. We ordered water, red wine, and starters. Parmigiana, baked aubergine with cheese and tomato sauce, and arancini with cheese and strawberry sauce. However, half an hour after we had been waiting, we still had not received either the wine or the starters. We asked about them, and only then were everything brought to us at once. For the main courses, we ordered pork tenderloin with rice and vegetables. The second dish was sea bass alla siciliana. It was completely dark, so I could eat the pork tenderloin in the dark, but eating a fish with bones is quite risky. After a while, the waitress realized the problem and brought us a small table lamp so that we could eat normally and see what we were putting into our mouths. For dessert, we wanted to order tiramisu and panna cotta, but only panna cotta was still available, and in a rather small, tasting-sized portion. The dinner was fine in terms of taste, but the service left us somewhat disappointed. The third restaurant, however, turned out to be the most fantastic. It was the Aegean restaurant, serving Mediterranean and Greek cuisine. There was a beautiful sunset. We were among the first guests and chose an excellent table with a view over the entire bay. The service here was absolutely excellent. I will also show you a screenshot of the menu so that you can take a closer look. As an appetizer, we received a selection of bread. As for the starters, there was no choice. We received everything that was listed on the menu. There were 5 starters. There was a salad with cheese and dips, followed by halloumi with aubergine, a mini kebab on a small pita, and pasturma. There were also pastries, small traditional Greek savory pastries, crispy on the outside and filled with dried beef. There were also sauces. The flavors were really interesting, and I have to say that these 5 starters alone practically filled us up. For the main courses, there was salmon with steamed vegetables in a buttery, slightly lime-flavored sauce, while the second dish was grilled fish. Desserts were also not ordered individually. Instead, we received a set of 3 desserts, one based on semolina and milk. We have to say that both the food and the setting, the sunset and the light accompanying our dinner, made this a meal we will remember for a long time. When checking in, we receive an A4 paper voucher for each restaurant. I saw people exchanging vouchers. For example, exchanging vouchers from the restaurants upstairs so they could get 2 vouchers for the Aegean restaurant and eat there twice. And some people managed to do that. At the hotel, checkout is by 11 a.m., and the hotel is not willing to extend the room stay, even for an additional fee. We ordered transport from reception to take our luggage down, so that we did not have to carry the suitcases down the stairs. An electric shuttle cart took us to reception. There, we could leave our luggage in dedicated rooms next to reception. If they were full, we had to leave the luggage outside in a monitored area where there was a camera. If you want to change clothes, the only place is the spa that we showed earlier, where you can also get towels. This is Elysium Spa. You simply enter the normal changing rooms. There is a women's changing room with toilets and showers, and a men's one as well. However, it is not designed for several or a dozen people to use at the same time, unlike other hotels where there are small changing rooms and shower cubicles designed for many guests to shower and change before traveling to the airport. Some people did not want to walk to the spa, and by reception, if we go down the stairs, there are toilets. Here we can see the women's toilets on the right and the men's on the left. Many people simply changed there. We have shown you this hotel from A to Z, all its aspects, from the room to the pools, bars, restaurants, a la carte restaurants, and all the facilities, as well as all its drawbacks. I hope you now have the complete picture that I would have liked to have before going on this holiday. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to our channel.